Yeah, I understand that sometimes they might forget to hit the button, but I mean, when you remind them in the video, but I mean, some of them forget, some of them don't. I mean, they just don't want to hit it. I don't know. I mean, they act like they gotta pay to hit the button. I mean, do it for support purposes. I mean, really? You can't hit the like button? I mean, I mean, come on. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got something special for you guys today, so keep watching. Welcome to the channel. Today is part 2 of the new vintage USA gauge cluster install. On part 1, we installed the sensors that are required for my gauge layout. Please check that video out first if you haven't already. And one last thing before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go. All right, here we go. Just the dash before and after. See the old dash? I already stopped popping stuff off, so it's loose. I forgot to turn the camera on, but I think everybody know how to take these dash off. You got screws underneath here, 4 screws across the bottom. First thing I suggest doing is popping these caps off before you start loosening the dash. Pop these caps off. Pop that one off. They got these little spring clips on the back of them. You got 3 on that one, and then on the center section you have about 4 of them, 1 in each corner by the vents. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Take your time and get those off, and then once you take those off, you got a bolt right here and then a bolt up here. 2 bolts. So the 2 bolts on the top, on the inside behind those panels, and then 4 across the bottom. And you should be able to remove all of that. I'm trying to get a good picture. That sun is getting me. Then we can get to the bolts behind that take the cluster off. Tap back in a little bit, and I have some more. Okay, got the cluster out of there. 2 things. Make sure you disconnect your this from your column. This is so that it'll let you know what gear you in. It'll pull it and let you know what gear you in when you working with the column shifter. So disconnect that string from the column shifter. Make sure you do that. Second thing is, what helped me is my shifter cable. I had my cousin push it from the hood, underneath the hood. He pushed it while I pulled on the cluster, and I got it far enough away so that I can unclip this cluster piece. On the back of the cluster, what you got to do is you got to push this and then pull on that cable, that speedometer cable, and it'll come off. Second thing is this little connector right here is bolted right by the cluster. It is actually next to the cluster, just like that, and it has a bolt on it. So you have to unbolt that. What I did is unhook the speedometer cable first, push the clip, my cousin helped me push this wire through so I can pull the cluster away from the dash enough to push that clip in. And then the last thing I was able to do is unhook that bolt, and then the cluster came out. Another good tip to do is you can trace all of these from the connector right there where the connector is to whatever bulb, and you can kind of figure out what your wires, you can label your wires or get familiar with your wires, and then probably help you with wiring everything. Just follow your connectors. If you can see it, follow it all the way back to the connector, and then label your wires, and then go from there. So that'll be what I'm doing next. Look like a little creature was in here. But yeah, this is 30 plus years, 35 plus years of debris sitting up, who knows where at. But yep, getting it done. So next, like I said, we're gonna be chasing the wires on the back of the cluster, and that'll let me know what color wire is associated with that piece, and then I can label it, and then when it's time for me to put the new cluster in, it'll be easy and already labeled wires, easy for me to hook them up. All right, I chime back in. Okay, I'm about to start cutting this dash. I gotta cut this back piece out. This back piece out is, the new gauge is going to sit further back in here, so all of that has to be cut out. And then what I'm going to be using is this Dremel. It's an oscillating tool. They call it the Multi-Max. So we're going to use that. I have a Dremel, but I can't get in here real good, so I'm going to use that to knock all of those edges off, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. This fits in here perfectly. Okay. I got all the pieces out. All the pieces out of there. I just cut it out. Let me turn on some light, hopefully. Okay, you see all the pieces on how I cut it out with that thing. You just gotta watch out for these wires, because they're right behind where you need to cut at. It'd probably be better if you just can cut straight up all the way and on the sides and down. But you know, just be mindful of the wires behind here, because they are right behind where you need to cut at in some areas. So long as you stay good with that, you should be good. I was going to take this whole black bezel out, but I just decided to leave it in there, and just was real careful where I had the blade at and was cutting at, because you don't want to cut these wires. So now I'm here, and I was cutting pieces out at a time. This is what I did, cut pieces out. This harness was connected with a screw on the back of it, the connector, so I just cut a chunk out, and then was able to loose and flip this around and disconnect it without taking this whole piece out. So that's what I did, and I'm ready for the next step now. Getting these wires. I got a chart. I'll probably upload a chart with all the connector wire, like the wiring diagram for this connector, and we'll go from there. Stay tuned. Fade back. All right, I'm getting ready to start heat shrinking these wires. I'm doing one at a time. This is my chart, my diagram that I'm looking at for the connector. these connectors. On this, they got the same. If you look at these, you got the same connector, so you got to make sure which meter you're plugging the corresponding connector into. So this have the same color coordination as this one. All the red and all the numbers are the same. All the colors are the same on both connectors. So once this connector is completed for a speedometer, then I am going to label this as the speedometer connector. Put a piece of tape on here and write speedometer. Once this one is done, I'm gonna write tack. Just tape it off and write tack, so that if I ever have to take the cluster out, I know which side this goes on. I don't know if that's gonna hurt if I plug it into the wrong connector, the wrong gauge or not, but I don't want to take that chance. So this is how I'm gonna do it, and we'll go from there. Oh, actually, let's go in here real quick. I did find a diagram. Hopefully y'all can see that. Pause the video. But that's what I'm using. It matches my connector on the car, so that's what I'm running with. Like I said, this is an 86 CUTLASS Supreme, and that's what's working for me. I am soldering these connectors. I have these solder seal connectors. These are a lifesaver for soldering. Just like a heat shrink, just like you crimp them, it has the heat shrink and a solder built into it. So once I heat this up, it'll heat shrink the wire and solder it all in one step. So all I have to do, cut it, splice it, put it in there, slide like I'm doing a butt connector, and then just heat shrink it. I got this on Amazon. I've been using this. I use this underneath the hood with the starter wires. If you tuned into the channel, you saw that. I didn't make mention of this, but this is what I use in that application, and this is what I'm gonna use on this. So if you haven't heard about these, man, these are pretty legit. Get you some, man. I don't butt connect any wires anymore. I just use this. I don't buy a separate heat shrink. I use this. I do buy separate heat shrink for a different a scenario I might use, or a different situation, but for wire connectors, man, this is the way to go in my opinion. Let everybody find what works for them and use that. This is what I'm doing. I'll fade back when I get some stuff done. I don't know if that's a good angle or not. Hopefully you can see it. I done got my wire. These connectors I'm using. It's a tight area, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I don't have a cameraman. Put it on my wire. Put it on this wire. The two wires meet in the middle. Make sure my solder overlaps in the middle of that. Let that cool off. I need to heat it a little bit more. The heat shrink ain't all the way good. There we go. I just like to hold the wire because the wire is so, while it's hot, it's so flexible. So until it cools down, it'll be stiff, nice and stiff. Get y'all in there. See that it's coming together. Soldered. Got a couple down, some more to go. I keep y'all, and I am doing this. I cut every other wire, all the odd numbers I cut short, all the even numbers I cut long, just in case I got to put this connector back in. I don't have it all bunched up on next to each other if I had to put the connector, solder this connector back on. Just something I do whenever I'm soldering and cutting connectors and stuff like that. Might be a tip out there for somebody. Alright, I fade back. So hopefully y'all can see this. Okay, this is the LS harness. I need speedo. Hopefully y'all can see that. Okay. I need speedo, which is green. I need engine check, which is brown. And I need the tack, which is white. Everything else is hooked up so far. The fans are hooked up. The switch 12 volt is hooked up, and the brake switch is hooked up. So I only need 3 wires coming from the harness, the standalone current performance harness, and going to the cluster. So let's get moving with that. Hey, I want to chime in and let y'all see I got pretty much everything hooked up. I was able to get that current performance harness. I don't think I noted, but let me show y'all something. Let me get some. Hold on one second. Let me get this light. Oh, sorry if I blind y'all. Got my light. Show y'all what's up. So my current performance harness, it pretty much sat down here. And when I'm saying it sat down here, I'm talking about this loom right here. This loom that I have my hand on, it has the 2 fan wires, it has the tack, it has the 12 volt switch, it has the brake switch, it has the speedometer, and the engine check light, all in this harness. And I had everything connected right here, and I was trying to get some wire to go to my cluster, but the thought came across my mind was just take the 2 fan wires out of the loom, take them out, pull them out the loom all the way back here almost to this connection, this junction, or this split off, and then send this whole loom already protected with the wires and everything all the way up to the cluster. And there we have it, right behind the cluster. It's already loomed, everything already labeled and everything. So I got all of that wired. I was about to make this whole thing myself, but I got the loom already and the wires that I needed to extend from over here down to my passenger side. But all I had to do is just take the fans, two fan out, and then I got all this extra wire going to the fans underneath the hood. So yeah, I can shorten that. I'm gonna do that later. I ain't worrying about that right now. But yeah, that's just one thing. So I got perfect loom going already, nice and neat, going behind the I was gonna do it the same way, but it's already done for me. All I had to do is just take the 2 wires out. Everything's going up here, and then I'm straight on that. I'm just leaving it rough like that until I get everything squared away. I had to show you guys that. That's one thing I had to show you. And also this tack. Tack wire, if you can see that. Let me see. Focus. Focus, focus, focus. If you can make that out, I have the tack and the positive switch turn on going to that relay. Just like the papers say, if you can see that. Step up relay goes to the 12 volt and the tack signal. So I have that just like that, and I'm gonna just take this up. It's coming right out the solder joint relay, and then what I did is I split the wire and wrapped it around that wire, if you can make that out. I know the focus ain't good, but hey, it is what it is. So that is done. So pretty much everything is done. The only thing I have to wire up now is the pressure, pretty much the pressure and the coolant temp. Those 2 wires I do have to run. Like I said, I already have the loom and everything. All I have to do is just get 2 wires, mount those to the block, and then mount those to the block and get those loomed up, and then bring them inside behind the cluster. Once I hook that up, I'll be straight. Next thing I need to do is pretty much program the cluster. I already had the cluster plugged up the way it is now, and the readings as far as the tack and the speedometer is wrong, simply because I didn't program it. I do know that, so I just was rushing. I just wanted to drive the car. I haven't driven the car in a little while, so I just wanted to see what it did. So did that, and I know I just have the RPMs and the speedometer is reading wrong, so I just have to program the I think the PPM on the speedometer, and then on the RPMs I gotta program what kind of signal is coming into the cluster, the tack. So with this tack, with this new vintage USA tack cluster, it takes signal from like 5, or I think it's 5 different sources. 4, I think it is a 4-pole system, a 8-pole system, and some other ones. So I just got to put it on the right system to understand what the signal is coming from, and then we'll go from there. I chime back in either when I'm setting it up or when I'm mounting this stuff to the engine. Chime back in. Okay, one thing I had to do that I need to show is the car going off the wiring from the original cluster connector. I took the Illumination wires and hooked them up to the Illumination harness wires for the cluster, and it did not illuminate my cluster whatsoever. I had no lights. I had it hooked up right to the right wires and everything, which I believe is these gray wires on the original cluster that was supposed to be based on the harness wiring diagram. That's the Illumination. So those did not work for me. I don't know. This time I didn't check the fuses. I recently checked fuses on another occasion, but I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't check the fuses. I'm pretty sure that probably wasn't going to work. So what I did is I made my own wire by tapping into my switch. What I did is I took a test light, hook it up to the ground, and pretty much test these. Actually, I can do it for you right now and show you. So hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, so here's a good ground right here, behind the cluster. This was actually hooked up to the original cluster, so that's a good ground. And what I did is I just went to my switch and just test and find out which one I needed. You see, that's what I did. And once I found the right wire, I pretty much solder it on the back. I don't know if you can make that out, but it is soldered behind there, and it is a green wire. I soldered that and brought the wire over and tapped it into my cluster harness, and I do have lights now. And also I did tape this. I kept calling it a resistor. I looked at the footage. I kept calling it a relay, but it's a resistor. It's a 10, I believe a 10K resistor to change the signal pattern, I believe, for the tack. Got that taped up. It's a step up resistor. So make sure I correct myself in what I was saying about that. And yeah, got that taped up, so hopefully that stay together fine. And then everything else is pretty much done. Like I said before, I just need two more wires. Once I get my and I might go ahead and do that now, so I can just run the wires underneath the hood, not connected to anything, until I get my fittings. I gotta have fittings to go into the block to adjust the height of the oil pressure sensor. So I can pretty much just run my wires out there, clean up this wiring. I am waiting on tape. I want to loom this up real nice, get it taped up and everything. I haven't done that yet because the tape hasn't come in. So all of this is going to be nice and pretty once I get done. I like my work nice and clean, so I don't have any issues. I have yet to find out where I'm gonna put these buttons at. If I don't get it done, they might be hanging from underneath the cluster. I'm not 100% sure. I was thinking like right up in this area, but that is some thick dash material. So I don't, because this is so, it's not that thick, it won't fit between the dash. The dash is probably about 2 inches thick or 1.5 inches thick or so. So that would not work right there unless I cut a hole and mount a plate, which I'm not a fan of doing that. But we'll see how I'm gonna mount those sensors. I'll come up with something eventually. I want it to be nice and clean, and get this project all the way there. Hopefully this will be finished pretty soon. I can get this video out to you. I'm taking my time. We having some cold days. Lately, and my scheduling and everything. So it's taking me a little bit longer than I would have liked it to take. But hey, I got to do what I got to do. I got to balance my time between family, making some videos for you guys, and also working on the car. because we got to shoot the video, install the product, and then edit the video. So it's time. It takes a lot of time. So doing all of this for you guys. So hopefully y'all appreciate it, and just tap in, subscribe, help me out by subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button, commenting down below. That really helps out, because I can actually see who really support me, who really, you know, like the content I'm putting out, and so forth. When I see your comments, that really let me know that you tapped in, and we'll go from there. Hopefully I you know, get some more video out that y'all will like. But I haven't really seen too many people put out content on this new vintage USA cluster. I really like it. I think I'm gonna be happy with it. And y'all tell me what y'all think down in the comments below also. I only seen a couple videos, like I said, so I'm trying to be real in depth. Try to put as much video content I can on this cluster. They're not paying me. I don't have no connection with the company whatsoever. I just, at first glance, I just like the product so far. So we'll see how that goes. And if I change my mind about the product, believe me, I will let you guys know. But like I said, I like the look of it and everything. Actually, they just did some new stuff. And be mindful, I haven't put this out there, but I had this cluster for a while. I probably had this cluster for at least before I did any of the motor swapping around stuff, you know, if you know what I'm talking about. But probably at least 7 months, I would say. I saw it on sale and I got it, and I just had it sitting for a little while, and now I'm to the point where I want to tackle it, and that's why I'm making this video. But yeah, stay tapped in. I'm gonna fade back, and I'll let you know when I have some more. Okay. All right. Next we're about to start the wiring. I got my wire. I got it looms. This is going to be going to the sensor. 2 wires or whatever going to the sensor. I'm about to push this through the dash, through the firewall, and out to the engine bay, and then run these wires to the sensors. One for the oil, and then one for the temperature sensor. So let's see if I can get some decent angles. Hold on 1 second. Get my light. Hey man, if you haven't gotten one of these, man, hey, these things are nice. Use these under the hood. They connect to anything. You can. I think I probably already said this in this video, but I'm liking this. My wife got it for Christmas. This sucker gets super bright. And also they have a hood mount. If I didn't say this already, which I may have, but they have a hood mount that you can mount that I plan on getting to hold it up underneath the hood, because it's a cheaper one that Harbor Freight sells. It's a waste of time, waste of money. It's only 800 lumens, I believe. This one light is 2100 lumens, and you have the option of putting 2 of these on the hood mount, or whatever mount. I mean, whatever you want to put it on. You can. It's easier to mount to the hood, or you can mount to the roof of the car, or whatever. But that bad boy comes with one of these, and you have the option of mounting another one to it if you like. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, I'm just excited about this light because I'm just using it everywhere. So, like I said, it mounts. I got some mounting. I have some metal on the roof, so it sits right there, and goes good with what I needed to do. do what I needed to do, baby. Let me try to set y'all up. Hopefully y'all get a good angle about what I'm doing. This looks like a mess. I got my heat wrap and tape and everything. I just did a test to see if the wires was working. Just ran it before I ran the wire, just make sure everything was straight, which it is. So, hey, I'm getting down to the nitty gritty. Down here on this junky floor. Let's see. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So I think what I'm gonna do is hey, if you need a quick little tool, oil, dipstick, one of the oil dipsticks that I got out the engine, you can use this and figure out where you want your wire to go, and then tape it to it, and then pull it up like use it as a little fish, which I'm gonna have to just put this through and probably come from the bottom and pull it up. That's probably what I'm gonna end up doing, but we'll see. Let me try this one more time. Yeah, I'm gonna just it's taking too long. Super easy. Run it from the engine bay through the firewall, and then run my wires through the floorboard, and then pull it up with this. That's how I'm gonna do it. I had an easier time doing that, so we're gonna get it done like that. See how easy that was? All I do, tape it to it, and then pull it straight up. So let's go to the firewall under the engine bay. this is gonna be out here. It's going through the firewall. All right, so that's in the through the firewall. Let me show y'all. So that's just going through that little spot right there on the firewall. I gotta redo this wire and come through this grommet, put that nice and neat. This is my manual oil tubing right there. That's about to come out because this is going to be the new wired oil sensor. This is the oil gauge that sends oil pressure through the lines, copper lines, to the sensor. That's the old way. The new way is me running a wire to the oil sensor. So right now, actually I have two oil sensors. One is down there coming off the oil pan, and like I said, new sensor is back there. So those are two mounting options that you have on these LS. Some people mount it on the bottom, some people mount it on the top. That top mount is normally the factory location. The bottom is sometimes a secondary location that people use. Like I said, I use that because that's what I had, and now I'm going a different route with this sensor to run my cluster. Because my old gauge was right here and that was working perfectly, but why have that set when I have it on my cluster? So hopefully I'm not moving the camera around too much, but hey, I'm doing a lot of moving around today, and it is what it is. Okay, what I'm gonna do, let me show y'all this as well. I got a lot going on, but up, let's see, get my light in the right spot. Y'all can see where it comes through the firewall. Hopefully it's coming through the firewall, and then pull that through as much as I'm gonna need, and then run that the right way. Got a lot to clean up under here. So much to do, not enough time to do it, get it done. Alright, next you get some electrical tape, which I have somewhere around here. Where's my electrical tape at? Get your electrical tape and just tape that wire. Tape it to dipstick too, and should be good to go. Hopefully you can see that. Now I got my oil dipstick. Pull that up through. Pull that up through right there. It just came off because I had one hand doing it, but I got it right here. And there's my wire. Simple as that. Now I'm gonna just check the wire down. So now I'm gonna just check the wire, make sure it's ran right, how I want it around, you know, everything underneath the dash. Let's go look under the hood. Yep, see, got enough wire under the hood, so I got more than enough wire. I have more than enough wire, more than enough heat shrink. I say heat shrink, but loom, and then we can go from there. We'll fade back when I get all of that tidy up. Getting these last wires hooked up. What I'm doing is, because you got two different size wires, this takes a blue connector. I don't know if you can see that, but I have a wire that is like a 14 gauge, and then I have a wire that is an 18 gauge. So what I'm doing is I just cut the terminal just for the heat shrink, and just heat shrink it on this wire, on the smaller wire, to make it a little bit thicker. And then I can put that into the bigger heat shrink, and then hopefully it'll hold a little better. Heat shrink this wire. They probably have some that you can do a smaller wire, but this is just what I'm doing. As you can see right here, I put a red connector on this wire first, as you can see, the little red, and then I put the blue over it, and now it's sealed all the way. Hopefully you can see that. The solder joint, you know, is perfect, but that's what I'm doing, getting it done. Done. Y'all can see I'm watching, supporting other YouTube. That's LS Chevy Grinder at the moment, but I'm working at the same time too. That's what we do. That's what we gotta do, man. Support each other as much, you know, if we can, and go from there. I mean, y'all don't have to do it. That's just what I do. Hey, to each his own. To each his own. I was listening until I hit that record button, but I can read the comments. And what I do on these heat shrink is, I start on one side and heat the blue section up first. Close in on that wire. And adjust you out a little bit. I got too tight. Keep the top, the side, the bottom, all the sides. Maybe bring y'all in closer. Hopefully y'all can see that. I don't know how well it's picking up. Start on the blue. Once I do that side, then I go to the other side. And that kind of locked the wire in there, hold the wire for me, and so forth, which I got it in a nice spot. It don't need to be held right now, but that also helps the solder from escaping, because it turns liquid in there. Let's see if y'all, I don't know if y'all can make that out, but hey, that bad boy, that's that solder melt. Try not to mess up the camera, but yep. See, I soldered a melt in there. It's liquid. Takes a second to cool down and turn back hard. You can look at the color and the solder kind of change. You can tell when it's liquid and when it's solid. There we go. So that's what I'm doing. I'll chime back in a little bit. Okay, I just connected the cluster and slid it in and went for a test drive. Everything worked fine. Now what I'm gonna do is clean up all the wiring harness and everything. So let's tune into that. So I'm gonna just disconnect this mess. And here's my harness. So what I need to start doing now is, I don't know what I need to start doing. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? All right, first what I'm gonna do is I can just send this harness back through this hole and keep that out the way, because I don't need that. That's not gonna that shouldn't affect anything right there in that hole. This on the other hand, same thing with this. Put this out the way. Or that's not going to affect anything. I can feed the excess of this wire back behind here, and I still don't know where I'm going to put these at, but I believe I know where a good place will be, and that's down Okay, I'm trying to straighten up these wires. I'm just moving stuff around in the dash, but I have some of this soft loom tape or whatever you want to call it, and I'm gonna use that to kind of like make some harnesses, like smooth out the clean up the wiring, and then go from there. And I'm actually going to take the zip tie, and this is going to be my first harness. This is for the speedometer, so this is most important. So this is going to be how I signify this harness, how I know the difference between the two harnesses. Hopefully y'all can see what I'm doing. Hopefully I'm not in the way. Okay, got one down. Oh, and let me put my zip tie. Where did I put it? Oh, this is gonna be for my main harness. So what I'm gonna do is like I said, all of this is doing is just letting me know that just tagging this harness. That's all I'm doing. Tagging this specific harness. Nothing more, nothing less. Just let me know what harness this is. Okay, so that lets me know that that harness is for my speedometer. Not, like I said before, I'm not a professional. This is my first time doing this with this new vintage USA cluster. I have wired up a cluster before, but that's beside the point right now. That was completely custom setup that I did before. There's that. Then I have these two coming out for the switches. I don't think I'm gonna mess with these. These are the label that comes from Current Performance. I'm gonna leave those. Just need to get some more room around these wires down in here, a little further down in there. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start from the back and work my way forward. This is a little tight right here. Let's see how I get this situated. I think I'm getting it. Okay, that's going there, that's going there. And pretty much you want to do this just so you don't have stuff moving around too much. Less movement, the better. That'll help with shorting stuff out and so forth. So it helps with looking clean, and it also helps with, like I said, so you don't have shorts and stuff. Wire rubbing together and so forth. And pretty much there you have it. If you can see down in there. Okay, got my harness pretty much done. Got my harness wires that's going to the Current Performance loom. These two going to the cluster. Have it marked. And then you have your two wires that's going down low. There we go. Dash is pretty much cleaned up. And those are, I think it'll go somewhat like these, like this. Let's see. So I gotta get these down. Down here. Okay, there we go with those. It's gonna sit like that, and everything else should be good. Okay, got those locked in. And that should sit in there just like that. Okay. Let's see if we're just gonna see if everything lights up. Make sure everything's still working. Excuse the buzzer. Well, let me do this. Should light up just okay. Everything lights up fine. Okay, all I did is I took these wings off. These little wings right here on both sides. I just took those off. Wasn't sure if I was gonna use them or not. And also didn't want to break them off while I was handling this, so I just put those back on, and now we're about to put this back in the dash. And I always grab this one first, and that goes to my mile/hour one because that's the way I wired it. Oh. Okay, I think we got found all our bolts. Put this cluster back in. Give y'all a little bit of action. Okay. So you got it up in there. You got 1, 2, and then up in there you got 3. Okay. Then next you got 1, 2, 3, 4.